We've been telling you about it all morning long. Governor Andrew Cuomo came out with guns blazing during his first State of the State address yesterday. Joining us this morning again is former Erie County Executive Joel Giambra to give us your political perspective. Thanks for joining us once again early this morning.
Good to see you again. Now,
the governor, he was hard-hitting. He was talking about wage freezes, holding taxes, as well as putting a cap on state spending. We've all heard this before. What do you think?
Well, what Governor Cuomo is attempting to do that would be different this time, Victoria, is to change the culture of Albany. And he started to do that by changing the venue where he delivered the state address, which is traditionally in the Assembly chambers. He moved it to a different venue. So what he's attempting to do really is change the culture. And if he's successful in changing that culture, then he may be successful in fixing the state's budget problems.
Now, Joel, to quote the New York Times, Cuomo, this is a quote, Cuomo didn't just give a speech, he put on a political rock show yesterday, complete with graphics, really blasting these so-called three men in a room. And in this graphic, you can see he has depicted himself, Sheldon Silver, and Senate Majority Leader Dean Skelos as warships being besieged by special interests. How do you think Cuomo can break this cycle?
Well, yeah, that was part of changing the culture, Joe. What he did yesterday by, again, changing the venue, using technology. Obviously, he, like his dad, is a great orator. He's able to speak and get command of an audience, and he did just that. Yesterday was full of accolades and people suggesting that they're going to work together. We've heard that before also. That remains to be seen as whether or not that cooperation that we heard about yesterday will continue when he proposes the budget.
Now, more applicable to us in all of upstate New York, the governor yesterday threw out a dire figure referring to the development situation. Let's take a listen to that.
Upstate New York grew about 1.7% per year, while the average in the nation was 2.7%.
Those are some pretty scary numbers. What do you think he needs to do to change that around?
Well, unfortunately, those numbers aren't new. This has been happening for the last 10 or 20 years here in upstate New York. What he has to do, again, is change the culture of Albany. We've got to reduce spending. He's talking about no new taxes, and to cut a $10 billion deficit is going to be Herculean. And it's going to bring some devastation to the economic conditions of New York State in and of itself.
Yeah, talking about reducing spending and the deficit, there were some rumblings yesterday. Even if you Google the governor's speech, you'll see immediately that people are talking about how he may try to privatize certain public offices. Is that going to help? Is that a possibility?
What he laid out yesterday, Joe, was an aggressive, ambitious attempt to restructure state government internally. He's also been a very strong proponent of consolidating local governments, mergers and consolidations, which was part of his presentation yesterday. Again, when you take $10 billion out of the state economy, that's going to be a hit in and of itself if he's successful in reducing spending by $10 billion. And the operative word here is if. It's going to be very difficult to do that in 1 year.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll bring you back here dark and early on Wake Up to talk about his first 100 days and then maybe after his first year as well. Thanks for joining us.